Bam. We are live.
Bam.
We're live. It's weird. There's always a delay, so I can't see it yet live, but I know it's live. How you guys doing in the world? Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Lonely Daniel Live. I am Daniel. I am not lonely tonight, but I am live. Uh-oh. Getting some feedback. There we go. We have a special edition episode for you tonight. I've been trying to promo it as much as possible, but this is the Bigfoot Chasers behind the scenes live stream. I'm joined here by two guests, Mr. Samuel Forbes and Mr. Daryl Hutchison. Hutchison. There we go. Let's make sure the stream is chat's working. Bam. This is very clunky, I know, but we're figuring it out. We got people watching. Say hi on the chat, folks. There's a little bit of delay, but you can definitely feel free to ask any questions you want, and we'll answer them, but it might take a second. But what's up, world? How are we doing? Anyway, what's up, Daryl, Sam? Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
if you guys didn't know, well, for one, we're talking about Bigfoot Chasers, which is a web series we did for, I think it's over 6 years, if you look at like the timeline and when it all came out. But I played a character named Joe. Sam played a character named Craig. And Daryl was the
everything else.
The everyman, the invisible character.
That's true.
And yeah, he edited, filmed it, sound, boom guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Anne was in it.
Oh yeah,
he did play.
Yeah, you were in one of my favorite episodes, at least conceptually.
Although, like, I was just thinking about that episode. It's called Playback Proof. If you've ever seen it, that was like, I remember the scenery for that one being like so freaking cool with the fog coming into that valley, and it just like never. I remember seeing it and being like, oh, you can't tell how cool this was.
That was Shaver Lake, right? Shaver Lake.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
But yeah. Anyway, so I promised on the promos and stuff that at some point we're going to show some lost episodes, which we will. We also have a bloopers reel, which is really nice. You guys will like that. And then, of course, we have a bunch of behind-the-scenes stories and all that kind of stuff. But first off, I wanted to start off by talking about where Bigfoot Chasers came from. Something I guess I've never mentioned. Originally, it started out, I was in it was a sketch group. I would meet up with friends, we'd pitch sketch ideas, and I had this one called Bigfoot Chasers. And I wrote myself to play Craig. I don't know if you know that, Sam. Did you know that?
I think so.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I remember, I don't know if you're about to say this, but I was like the only one that was like, this is amazing. We have to do this one. And like everyone else in the sketch group, because I was in it with him for context. And then there were a couple of other friends that we knew that kind of tied everyone together. So I didn't really know Daniel at all during that. But I definitely remember that I was the one that was like, this is an incredible concept. This is something we have to do. And no one else in the group was jazzed about it at all.
I don't know. Did we decide that night to flip characters? In my mind, we read it. Me and you read it out loud, and I was reading for Craig. And then we switched roles. And it was like, oh, Sam's way better at Craig. That's how I remember it in my head. I don't know if that's true.
I don't remember either. I definitely can't picture myself as Joe. So it's tough at this point. I definitely remember initially being drawn toward Craig. So I don't remember reading for Joe at all.
Well, yeah, that's basically all it was. And I just hit up Daryl and was like, hey, I got Sam on board, and I remember Daryl just being like, I'm in. That's all. You got Sam on board. Yeah. I'm in, because we filmed a web series a while back where I played a character that interacted a lot with a character Sam had, and that was our first time working together, first time meeting each other. And I remember Daryl just being like, this is the best episode. You guys got to do something else together.
We went to a park in like near downtown Fullerton, and filmed the first like test pilot episode.
Yeah. Also, I have that some of that footage right here. I won't watch the whole thing. Oops. But you could tell, like, you could see how far our characters came throughout the whole series, because especially in the beginning, man, like, I just feel like we were so different. And I guess you'll see some of that right now. So here's some of the original test footage before we filmed the pilot that we filmed in. Where'd we film it, Daryl? Brea?
It was it was a park. It was a park off Euclid in Fullerton.
Oh, okay, in Fullerton.
I forget the name.
Well, here it is. Here's some of the test footage.
Just called Bigfoot.
I gotta be honest here. I'm really excited. This morning I woke up and found a big surprise in front of my tent. It's a Sasquatch turd. Oh, it's big. This is it's big. I didn't have the heart to tell him it's mine. It was dark last night, and I didn't want to walk too far from the tent, so I just popped a squat right there, and he's close. He's real close.
Oh man, yeah. A couple things. First, first off, I forgot that it took us so long to come up with a name for the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we just called it Bigfoot for the longest time.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And the other thing, yeah, you could just see the accent. The accents and the like characterizations, I feel like not even till the last season did they become what they were.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about that, because I always think about that for a bunch of shows. A lot of people criticize and forgive immediately Parks and Rec for being one, especially that stands out of like, don't watch the first season. And I don't feel that way about Bigfoot Chasers, but it is crazy to think like it's almost just the industry standard to be like your first season and even the first couple seasons will not be anything like your end seasons, because you heighten to such an insane point to keep it interesting, not only for the viewers, but even for, I think, like everyone's making the show too.
Yeah, it's true. You start picking these extremes and being like, let's go with that thing or whatever. And yeah, your voice, I mean, we both changed a lot, but your voice changed a lot from that first test run, because you were very like Boy Scouty, I think, in the very beginning. Just like, oh yeah, I drew us a map and this is what we're doing, which I didn't play that part of the footage, but you literally do that at one point. You're like, I drew a map in the sand and we're going to go here and here. And like your accent was very like, I don't know, just like sort of, I don't know Southern accents very well, but it was like a totally different Southern accent.
Right. Yeah, I definitely remember, I mean, initially reading it too, getting strong like Dwight vibe. So early Dwight in The Office was, I think, one of the bigger inspirations. So I was definitely trying to be super Boy Scouty. Like I knew my stuff and I was going to execute things right. And then as it escalated, I mean, I don't think it's close to Dwight at this point.
Yeah.
I don't really know what I would relate it to, but certainly a way more insane, like, yeah. The relationship is very much Dwight, Michael, but I don't think the characterization is at this point at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun too how much we ended up building off. Like one of us would say one thing in improv, and then it was just like, okay, that's canon now. Like that's the thing.
Guess we gotta roll with this.
that's what it is forever. And I'll definitely show an example of that in a little bit. But first, I just wanted to like briefly go over like sort of what the normal process was for a season, which it was pretty simple. It was basically, I would write out a bunch of episodes, and then the three of us would meet up somewhere, like a coffee shop or go get lunch or something, and then I'd show them the episodes, and there might be some minor changes, or we'd be like, I don't really know if we should do that episode or whatever. But then for the most part, we would just take all the episodes pick a day, go up to the mountains, film 80% of it up there, and then anything that didn't get filmed up there was just because it was like, oh, it takes place in a house or something like that. And I want to say, I think we did part of that for convenience, but honestly, I think most of it was done for Sam's hair.
Yeah.
Because Sam went all out.
The mustache, that was always a thing. You're like, oh, I can't go to my stand-up shows with a mustache. So, and my facial hair is perfectly long enough. I shave it, and then we have these 3 days.
I mean, Sam
would just rock the bowl cut for like months after that, and then he just made it work.
That was something that like ended up making it in the script a little bit. It's just the fact that like Sam went all out and committed to this bowl haircut, which was definitely not in the script. We just talked about it being a funny idea. It was like, oh, I don't expect you to actually do that. And then he did it. And then it came time for me to grow my mustache. And I gave it like 3 days. And I hated having a mustache so bad that like half the time it was just terrible. But honestly, that's where, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, any of us, but like the whole like weird faces that Joe makes, I had a lot to do with the mustache because it was so light and so low that I would try to like stick it out and show it to the camera a little bit more. And then it just created this weird Joe face that even on the like 1 or 2 seasons where I did have a decent mustache, it like, I just kept doing it because that was Joe now or whatever. But
it turned out that in the off season, Sam's mustache was actually ridiculous. I wish we had a photo of that.
I have one on my phone.
Yeah, you did a play, right? Where you had to have a mustache. It was like so much better than Joe's.
Yeah, in the last 2 years or so, I feel like I've been able to grow way more mustache, especially in that test clip. I definitely was young enough to where I couldn't grow anything. But yeah, I've definitely had. We never really had a chance, besides if you saw like the random quarantine videos we did. We haven't had a chance to play because we always talked about the idea of it'd be really funny if Craig showed up to one of the episodes with this giant, like awesome Tom Selleck mustache, which I think only like now could I maybe potentially pull off.
Just for one episode. It would take like a year. And that would be something too. That like, yeah, Sam would spend 2 years growing this mustache and making it like curly or something. And then I'd show up and be like,
what's up?
Yeah. But that was basically the process for every season. And we'd go to a new place to film every time. And that was there we go. Sorry, it's cutting in old audio. But yeah, let's get to it. There was three unreleased episodes that I have right here for you. I doubt Sam has seen these in a very long time.
Probably not.
Let's go in order. This one was one of the first improvised things we ever filmed. I remember Daryl just saying he wanted B-roll footage just for like the intros of the show. We needed kind of stuff to cut to or whatever at certain times. And we just like improvised this thing, and then we made an episode out of it, and we were like, doesn't make any sense because it's not about Bigfoot. And then ironically, like seasons later, we have like a million episodes that have nothing to do with Bigfoot. But at the time, I think that was
pretty adamant about that for a while. I was like, no, it has to be about Bigfoot because that's this whole show. But then eventually it became about iPhones and Joe.
Right. But here it is. It's really short. This is the episode that was never released called The Climb.
I'm Joe. And I'm Craig. And we chase Bigfoot.
Craig, I'm slipping. Craig, I need help. Okay, got me? Almost there, Craig. Come on. Hey, hurry up, Craig.
It's just such a random episode.
I mean, yeah, I think no, I don't think it's terrible, but I definitely know why we didn't release it.
Right.
It feels more like a fun moment that could happen in a different episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just,
Yeah.
it was, I think honestly it was that moment where you reached out and I was like, come on. And I waved to you that we're like, that's so funny. Let's make that a whole episode just because that moment was good. But yeah, that easily could have just been in the beginning of one of the seasons.
Yeah. There's also a lot of stuff I think that we filmed when we were doing like B-roll for like the intro and stuff like that, that could have easily been a B-roll thing that we were probably initially filming it for that.
Yeah.
And then we just start to improvise and expand. And sometimes they turn into episodes and sometimes they turn into almost episodes.
Right. Let's do another one that never got released here. This is an episode that, yeah, definitely had nothing to do with Bigfoot. And this one's a little more of a fully formed episode. And honestly, like, I remember thinking when this came out, like, this is one of the first times we actually started building our relationship as characters. And I think it helped us a lot, even though it never got released. So here it is. It's called The Peanut.
I'm Joe. And I'm Craig. And we chase Bigfoot.
My favorite intro.
If we went down that pathway that
Want a
we were
peanut,
at earlier
Joe?
where it crossed, then give me one of those. Then maybe we can find more evidence down the one that we can have. There's a shell on here, Craig. It's way better that way.
Yeah.
Too funny.
I want to say we were done with the day when we like decided to do that. I mean, obviously it was all just improvised, but
I specifically remember editing that video over and over and over because every time you would do the spit take, you guys would just bust up. So there's like,
oh yeah,
like 30 outtakes or something like that of you guys like not being able to keep a straight face after he spits it out. It's so funny.
which is so
like,
funny because like after all that, we didn't end up airing it. Like it was so like, but I don't know. At least we have it. And then the last like unreleased episode I want to show. I don't know why we didn't release this one, to be honest. But this episode, a lot of like, even though a lot of it seems improvised, in the beginning at least, all we ever improvised were the interviews. We decided we'd have a couple interview ones, and the one that got aired was one when we talk about religion, and we filmed another one where we talk about love, and this was totally improvised. And like I was saying earlier, like these were the things that I think kind of built our characters the most, just because we would say these random things, and then it was like, okay, that sticks. I guess that's the backstory for my character, but we'll talk about it a little more afterwards. But here it is. This one's called Behind the Scenes Love. It's an unreleased episode.
I'm Joe. And I'm Craig. And we chase Bigfoot. I think that love can be found in mysterious places.
Love isn't real. I don't believe in true love anyway.
Love is a baby that must be nurtured.
I've only fell in love once, and that was in the 2nd grade. And then that teacher died. And the sub who came in just like wasn't as hot. It was also a guy, so that didn't help.
When love asks for its baba, you have to be there with one ready.
I've been married and divorced 9 times to the same woman. Then she died.
Sometimes when I look up, I see images of love in the clouds. Sometimes they look like Sue's face.
And now I chase Bigfoot. And I love him.
Oh man. Yeah, it's like specifically, I know from that, I remembered that one for some reason specifically. Like the way it would work is Daryl would just take one of us, and then the other one would just walk away, just go away, because we knew we'd break up laughing if we were there. And then we would just improvise for like 10 minutes or something, or 15 minutes, and we just go on and on and on. And then it'd be like one of those things where we wouldn't know what the other one said. And they'd be like, oh, what'd you say? Like, oh, I'm married and I have a wife named Sue. And I was like, oh, I got married and divorced 9 times. And like, it just became the thing. Like, none of us had ever talked about that before. And then that stuck with those characters forever, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, what you're saying about it building so much is like super true. And it's interesting. Yeah. I don't, yeah. You writing most of them, I think you, one, did a great job. And two, knowing you as a stand-up, like a lot of the episodes are funny conceptually. So like they have a premise and an idea and like a plot in a sense that something is happening that is funny, or some situation they're in is funny, because I think that you have a good mind to see the world that way. And the improvised episodes, I do think, were the ones where we discovered more of like just little tidbits and like facts about the actual characters, right? Because the other episodes weren't really based around that idea.
They were just jokes.
Yeah. So like finding out that you were married and divorced 9 times, like, was definitely something we talked about even up until the end. I mean, maybe we'll talk about this in a second, but like we've talked about making a movie, and like I think we were gonna like meet your wife at some point, and like all this stuff. Even though in that episode you say she died, we definitely forgot that.
We never
got released, so
we never aired it. That's true. It's not canon. But yeah, I mean, like my wife, like Sue, was definitely in an episode. Like this stuff definitely stuck and added so much, and yeah, it's cool and fun.
Well, yeah, it was enough to where, I mean, like, part of it was burnout, but part of it was fun. The season 4 ended up being, you know, a totally improvised series, which I guess, a totally improvised season, which I guess a lot of people don't know. If you go to youtube.com/Bigfoot Chasers, you go to the playlist, you could see the seasons listed out. You just click on season 4. That entire thing was improvised except one episode, which was the one where we were camping in the tent, and Daryl's grandma came and was like, hey, get off my lawn, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That was just one we had written and we had never filmed, and we we're like, we should film this. But yeah, I would say, because I was thinking about it, that was probably my favorite season. Do you have a favorite season? Either to film or that aired?
Daryl, you want to go first?
I loved filming up in the Shaver Lake area, just
Season
like
3, yeah,
the redwoods, and it was just like so beautiful up there. And it was like a cool trip just to go all the way up there together and hang out. And Michael McEvely was nice enough to drive us and kind of help us out behind the scenes and stuff too. But yeah, I don't know. I think that one was probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty torn, because I do like season 4. I remember season 4 potentially, maybe for me at least, because I know I come from more of an improv background and enjoyed that stuff a lot, and especially during the filming of this too, like thinking about where our lives are now comparatively to then. Like I was involved in trying to like run and manage an improv company and all this stuff. So I definitely have fond memories of filming season 4, but like right now I just took a second to like look through the episodes in the different seasons, and like I actually do think the Shaver Lake season 3 might be among my favorite content. I just think the ideas there, we put a lot into that season, and I feel like you can see it. And yeah, like certainly our premises that you wrote there for those seasons I think are strong. And while I do really like season 4 also, like the episode, like the meat of it, I guess maybe isn't as deep. I don't know what the right word to explain what I think it's clear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even if I don't have good words for it.
Well, the good
my words
point
no
too.
good.
Yeah, like season 1, we were still trying to figure out the show and the characters. And season 2, we had started to figure it out, but it wasn't until season 3 when Joe kind of became Joe and Craig became Craig a lot more. And then by season 4, we knew him enough to be able to improvise an entire season.
Right.
But I mean, that wouldn't have been able to happen without season 3. So it's definitely, season 3. And season 3 definitely looks the best because of the location. or whatever.
I will say that being said, at the end of season 4 with like the phone episode leading into the finale, like those are some of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, I do want to talk about that moment really quickly, because in the very beginning, we talked about like, how long do you want to do this for? And it was just kind of like, oh, until we get bored or we think we're done or whatever. And we had never really had that conversation of like, oh, when are we going to end it? It was just sort of like after the end of season 1, we're like, do you want to do more? And it was like, yeah, sure. Let's go to this place. And we'd film more. And then that just kept happening. And then we were up there filming season 4, improvising it. And I just remember we were like, man, this would be a good way to end it. And we just like improvised an ending to the whole series. So it kind of caught us off guard. But I remember just thinking like, yeah, this feels right. Like, yeah, we should do this. And so we did. We filmed an ending. And when it came out, I think a lot of people got mad. You can tell in our comments. They're like, what? This is the last episode next week? And
no announcement or any warning of any kind.
Right. Nothing at all. Because we were like, we'll give it a surprise, which is like a really bad surprise. And I think that had a lot to do with why we even did a season 5 later. Because I think I always felt bad that we like, oh, we kind of gypped people at the end of season 4.
I mean, some people even kind of emailed and said like, hey, you guys going to come back and do another season? And it's like, we had to.
Yeah, I feel like we had to. And so season 5 is like, let's wrap up like all the like episodes that we had written and we'd wanted to film, and like, just like explore a couple technical things. Like, I mean, honestly, filming the outros for season 5 was probably the most fun we had throughout the entire series. I just remember that day, I want to say we took a whole day to do the outros, because we didn't have, I think I had maybe 2 of them written, but otherwise it was like we just improvised those. And it's just, if you don't know, it's like at the end of the episode, it's just like, hey, be sure to look at our other videos and go to our Patreon, while we're like pointing up to the video screens. And it was such a simple thing, but like, God, I just remember laughing so hard filming those.
Those were really fun.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a 1-minute episode, but sometimes just like one scene would take 15 or 20 minutes to film, just because like you couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, those were like, I want to say maybe even some of the only times where it was like, okay, we have to physically take a break right now because we can't stop laughing.
Which, I mean, I 100% like love that people enjoyed the show. And I mean, looking at the views and stuff like that, like there were moments where like we get over 1,000 views, like that stuff feels cool. And like there, again, like Daryl was saying, like people emailed us, and there was a Bigfoot community that happened, which again, we can maybe go into later. But I was going to say, like, none of us are famous or anything yet.
Right.
So like at the bare minimum, the fact that we laugh so much, and definitely like I've done marathon reruns, like where I watch all of them in one sitting. And I mean, it takes maybe 2 hours at this point. At the time, back in the day, it only took like half an hour to watch all of it. It's just cool that it's here, and it's fun to go back.
Yeah, because there's some like 50 episodes now, and they're probably around 2-3 minutes a piece. So it's crazy. It's basically a movie's worth of stuff or whatever. I'm trying to think of different episodes that I guess people wouldn't really know. That the big one is season 4 that like, a lot of people don't want to know. We like straight up went up there with nothing at all. And we were like, let's just come up with episode ideas. And it was a race against the clock until the sun went down, basically. So I'm like really proud of that season. Just the fact that we could have very easily went up there and came back with nothing usable. So the fact that we got a whole season out of it was great. Another episode that when I tell people about it, they're like, really? Is the comments one? I forget what it's called, like viewer comments or viewing comments.
Something like that. I think that was just like a promo or a trailer. Wasn't like a full episode, was it?
It looks like a full episode.
Yeah, it is a full episode. Yeah, because the idea was, I was like, wouldn't it be fun if we take all the negative comments? Because we had like trolls and like negative comments on there. Like, what if we take the real negative comments and we call them out and joke about them and make fun of them? And so, yeah, like that's something we don't say in the video, and I guess seems like a joke, but yeah, every single comment in that episode is a real thing somebody told us, and they're all like really negative, like you guys are idiots and
a lot of cuss words.
Don't show your face in public and things like that.
There's a haircut one that I definitely remember where you responded as Joe instead of Craig responding to the bowl cut comments.
Oh yeah.
My hair is nice.
But yeah, do you have a favorite episode? You ever thought about that? Either of you?
Ooh. You already got your answer?
No, I didn't think about it.
Daryl's nodding.
I mean, on paper, I think I like the playing back proof episode. I don't, when it came out, I was like, I don't know, it's still funny. But I think I like it on paper more than because we had to rush for time for some reason on that one or something like. Oh, it was just really hard to get the audio, the reaction playback or whatever. I don't know. It's still great. I don't know if it's my favorite.
I liked Where Have Joe and Craig Been? Where it was like the recap of where like Craig was like looking for the Loch Ness monster and you were looking for El Chupacabra and just like I don't know. That one's definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
It's not even like at the standard Bigfoot Chasers episode, but No,
it was certainly one. I mean, you can even look at the time on it, right? It's 4 minutes and 47 seconds. It's like double the length of any other episode. Like clearly we put time into that one. And I remember specifically.
Which is funny because that's our.
Go ahead.
I was saying that's funny that's our epic episode and it's less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, our epic. Yeah. I was gonna say, I definitely remember like that was one where I think Daryl got a step up too, and like there was way more of like a film schedule, like set things, right? We didn't just film that in one day like everything else. There was multiple days that we filmed different things, multiple locations, whereas everything else was like we've been saying, just done in one day or done on the spot, and we would just find some location in the woods and be like, this one's good. So that one, it definitely is cool for that side of it as well.
I also really like the one where you guys are driving in the car.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot too.
Just because like I got to be the one that was like laying in the street, and that was really fun. And like just the whole like behind the scenes, we got this sandbag from Home Depot, and we just had to like time it just right. And like I'd throw it in front of the car, and then Daniel would run over it, and then I would creep down and like crawl behind the car and lay down. So then when he drove away, I was laying there. But that one was cool. Just
I remember
low budget filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Which I remember too, like the idea of it. We're like, this should be easy. And then when we were actually filming it, God, that was so hard because Sam and I were improvising a bunch of the dialogue on that one because we didn't know the timing of it. And I remember I had to at one point look back at the stop sign and be like, is that what that was? And I'm looking back and I had to hit this sandbag. One, I had to keep driving straight when I wasn't looking at the road and trust that like Sam was watching, making sure nobody like ran out there. And two, like the sandbag was like, like less, maybe the width of me or whatever, it was like that big and I had to hit it perfectly with my tire. And I remember we missed like probably the first 7 times.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like, did we get it? Nope, we didn't run over anything. All right, turn around, do the whole thing over again. Yeah.
Back to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to say a favorite episode. I mean, Where Have Joe and Craig Been is definitely in my top 3. It's hard to differentiate between what was the funniest episode and what was the funnest to film.
Yes, that is super. Because I'm looking at like the Bigfoot song, which I mean that's in the blooper reel that's coming. But that one we were crying.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest we ever laughed actually on the series.
So but I don't know that the episode itself is like the favorite. You know what I mean? Like that kind of goes back to the difference between those improvised season versus the other one, right? Like I definitely have really fond memories of the episodes, and I still like them. But are they the best? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and like Craig's Bigfoot story, like it was really fun to be you, and I know. On Joe's Bigfoot story, you played me.
Yeah. That was fun.
And those were like super fun to film.
I do like Craig's Bigfoot story. I think that one is one of my favorite. It's like one of the prettiest in my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Daryl did a great job. I mean, even in in that episode reminds me of the one we just watched, the behind the scenes one we just watched, where like the sun is coming in, right, and like the giant like light that there's probably a more technical term than sun behind us. Just that like
yeah, that backlight.
The backlight. Yeah. It looks really pretty and looks really natural. And I know that the Craig story has a lot of like fun stuff with like the light and how that plays with what the audience is about to see, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Daryl definitely put like, I think, way more into this show than most people would have done. We've been like, we'll just film it on our phones and blah blah blah. And Daryl was like, no man, I've been scouting out spots for weeks.
Yeah.
I got the perfect location. And I got all this equipment that I rented and stuff that's mine, and it's like turned out like, yeah, really cool looking. And yeah, I mean, I hope people appreciate that part of the show.
It's one of those things too that it makes him really nice to work with from an actor's perspective. Of like, I think Daniel and I are way more focused on like just doing some fun thing or improvising or whatever it is, and the fact that Daryl is so focused on the other stuff is super helpful. Whereas I think, yeah, I mean, I'm sure any like amateur, not to belittle our work, but like any, friends that get together and try to make a series can probably relate to the concept of it's really hard to find someone who actually loves filming it. It's hard to find people who are actually passionate about it. Like there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I like it. And then they go and do it. And like, they don't actually care. And I do think that when you look at this, it's so simple and so easy to do. But like, I can tell that someone cared about these shots, and I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. The one that always blows my mind that I have to, and I know like this wasn't necessarily the intention. I don't know if people can see this, but the shot that's actually the thumbnail for Where Have Joe and Craig Been? When we have the screen with the fake fire behind, like, I love that shot. I always have to tell myself like, oh, that's not a real fire, by the way, and I don't think we meant for it to even be that. We thought like, oh, it's a joke that there's a screen playing with the fire, but it was like such a cool shot. And I mean, those were super fun to film too. I mean, I really loved like even the Proving Bigfoot episode where it was just a lot of like kind of B-roll stuff of us like pretending to like point places and do that. It was really fun because then Daryl got to play around with the scenery and like different kinds of shots, and then we just got to like goof around basically the whole time.
I definitely learned a lot throughout like all of the different seasons, like seeing season 1 and seeing you guys like being kind of like just not developed in your acting, and then like going to like the last season, seeing how you guys developed the characters. It's like I can see how just like the direction of the whole series developed throughout the whole thing too. And it's crazy to see like just, I mean, how many years ago did we do the first season?
6.
It says on YouTube 6, so I mean that could be up to a day before 7. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
when I could tell you're in that demo shot footage that we did, I'm fairly certain that I'm 20 in that, and I'm 27 now, so that's 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that haircut and my current weight in that demo reel, I'm like, oh, I was doing the Diary of Anne Frank at that time, which I'm a sophomore in college.
Yeah, it's great. We did, something I always forget too, because we always refer to it as seasons, like, oh, season 1, 2, and 3. But like, I always forget that 1, 2, and 3 were like a month and a half apart or something every time. We take like 2 months off and then air the next season, and then take another 2 months off. And so, yeah, like people got a lot of episodes really quickly, and we were just kind of constantly coming out with it. And then it was, according to the timeline, at least 3 years later when we finally came out with the final season. And that was 2 years ago.
All right, I have my pick for favorite episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the first season finale, which is the behind the scenes religion one. And I do think the episode holds up. But some of my favorite lines that I definitely always remember, I mean, the earth has a crust like a pie. Like those lines definitely have stuck with me over all of these years, for sure. as well as I just remember the impact that episode I think had on the rest of this, like the seasons. I mean, that was definitely the first time that we experimented with like only improvising, which I think unlocked, again, like we said later, an entire season of that, as well as was the first instance of us like improvising and developing more of our characters' opinions and like harder points of views on things. That I think it's for a lot of reasons, but I do think it being influential to the rest of the series, for at least me personally. There's also, I remember the first one that I like felt really proud of. Like once this thing came out, I was like, okay, this is the one that I'll probably show people. It's like, hey, watch this one, and if you like it, like here, watch these other ones too.
Right.
That was like
an
for me.
I mean, that was probably the first one where you like wrote the majority. Well, you wrote all of your lines on that one, which I don't know if we had that with the other ones. Like, and that was the funnest part of filming those interview ones, was just having no idea. I'm pretty sure we had a brief conversation of like, okay, Joe's really into science, Craig's really religious, and that was really the extent of that conversation. And then we went our own ways and filmed it, and kind of I don't remember seeing any of that footage until it came out.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was also it was just a joke of, because I was supposed to be the Boy Scout who knew all of, like, I was actually the smart one about things and knew all the science behind it. It was just, it'd be funny if I believed in God and Joe didn't, right? Like, you would
Joe,
think that
who knows nothing, is super science heavy.
He's super science heavy. The dumb guy believes in science, and the smarter guy is way more faith-based.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I don't know if I could pick a favorite episode, because there's so many, like, even, I mean, I would say I wouldn't show this one. If you were talking about, what one episode would you show people if you could only show one, I wouldn't show this one, but like, I think I was one of the most proud of the Bigfoot Chasers episode, like our actual season finale was like the first one that actually had like a message, and it like ended with like, it was the perfect ending in my mind, that it had our like stupid sense of humor mixed with like, we actually said something in this one. So I was really happy with that episode, and surprisingly it wasn't that weird to be in my underwear for like, it was a little weird, but I felt way weirder having a mustache, I think, than
I feel like people like on the trail, like backpackers, like passed us and we just like laughed.
Yeah. Well, didn't I just go like run up in the bushes each time? Or I don't know if I stood there.
I think one time, but I think it was like we were like almost done with the take and you just kept going. And then it was like, then they got to us. It was like you had nowhere to go.
Well, yeah, because I want to say that was the last one we filmed, and it was a lot of dialogue, and it was a lot to remember. We'd filmed some other ones that day, and it was just like a lot to remember, and it was just like this huge monologue I had, and we'd get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to go up there each time, and I was just so tired, and I was like, I have to get done with this because it's so hard to do this line.
I rarely get sick, and I remember I got super sick when we went to Shaver Lake. Yeah. But even after a day of filming, even if I wasn't sick, like I was kind of sick for like the next day, and certainly that night, like it beat me up, and I definitely, people get mad at me because I am very stubborn about being sick. So this is an area I'm willing to admit it took me down.
Well, we have a few minutes before we air the blooper clip. Anybody I see there's a bunch of people watching. Feel free to ask questions now. Q&A time. If you got any questions, ask us anything. I got a question for both of you. What was the hardest episode to film? Like film what? What was the hardest one to act in, Sam? And what was the hardest one to film or edit for Daryl? For me, I guess I already answered. It was the on the road one, just like timing the sandbag and all that was definitely one of the toughest. Although I will say climbing anywhere wearing actual Uggs was also not the easiest, especially when we'd go up a real mountain and like you guys wouldn't even think about it because you were wearing normal shoes and not Uggs. And then I'd be just like slipping constantly. And I'm like, well, hold on, guys. I'm wearing Uggs. Off-brand Uggs, by the way.
Off-brand Uggs. I'm gonna go with Joe's story. And not that it was so difficult, but like as I'm looking through these, it's the one that I know I thought about the most going into it, because I think I'm sure a lot of people who have acted before or done it consistently with a single character, right? You ultimately figure it out, and it's pretty easy, I think, for someone to put a script in your face and go, "Oh, I know exactly how I would talk," just like you know how you would talk, right? Like once you're familiar with your character. So I definitely remember there was like, "Oh, I wanna do Daniel well." And I mean, to this day, I think I could have done better. And I'm like, oh, I should have done this or that as I watch it. But I definitely know it's the one that I thought about the most, that I took time to like think about. And when I look through these, I'm like, oh, I remember that one being a thing.
Yeah. What about you, Daryl?
I think my favorite one was also the hardest one to film, which is the Where Have Joe and Craig Been? Because we went to like Cabazon out in the desert, and then we filmed like a bunch of stuff at a bunch of different like parks and locations around, you know, like Fullerton and Brea and Anaheim and stuff, and then just like piecing it all together, and and then getting the voiceover and stuff. So that one definitely was the hardest, because it was like a mini movie.
Right. A little short film.
Yeah.
It looks really pretty too.
Yeah.
And the narration is great.
The narration makes it. It's so good.
Yeah. It was weird though. That was definitely one of the first episodes that we weren't together in a lot of it. Like we filmed our own. I was there though on most of the stuff for you.
But you guys
wasn't. Just not being in character stuff. It was weird.
You guys never talked to each other at all.
That's true, huh?
Well, at the very end, yeah.
You don't hear it though.
Daryl, you said you had some pictures or a picture or something?
Here, okay. So let me go share screen.
I know, Daryl has like hundreds of pictures somewhere.
Okay, so what is this picture? Can you guys tell me?
This is this right before we're filming the the season 1 intro?
I was gonna say it looks like the intro to season 1.
Very good. This is the first like ever picture I ever took of you guys as the Bigfoot Chasers.
Yeah.
What's that face I'm making?
I don't know. There's like a bunch of them. There's like a whole series. This is that same spot.
The smile. We're experimenting so much. Oh my
this one. What's this one?
This is season 2. No, it's not. Because I have that phone.
No, it's season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
my new phone.
Yeah, but we just like went up there with a bunch of props and stuff. That was like the whole thing. Like I got this cell phone case and a fake cell phone, and then we just decided to destroy it.
Yeah.
Oh, that hair, man. Dude,
I was so worried. I remember we laughed. So we rehearsed that one a couple times, and I remember every time I would take the phone from you and then just chuck it, and it would, or no, sorry, I would break it. I would smash it with the rock, and then I would chuck it, and it'd be like, "Come on, Craig," and then walk off. And I just remember the first like 2 or 3 times we rehearsed it, we just like busted up laughing. I was like, "Oh no!" Like when I actually break this phone, like I can't laugh. And I want to say the one that got used was the second take, because I think I broke on the first one, but the phone still looked okay.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Looking at this picture of my hair, I mean, I know you alluded to it earlier of like me having to have the bowl cut and stuff. There were definitely times where we would film a season and I had my bowl cut, and then we would I would get roped into, we just need this one shot outside, like this one shot of just you like walking out of a front door that we'll film later. And there was definitely, I remember specifically a time where I had that bowl cut for like 2 full months.
Yeah.
Before we got it. Because what would happen would be Daniel would always freaking like, okay, we can film it on Saturday. And then something would come up that like got in the way of that. And then Daniel would shave his mustache.
Yeah, it was because his stand-up shows and his mustache.
Yeah, he just refused to grow the mustache. Yeah. Meanwhile, I have this bowl cut the entire time. And I'm like, okay, well, can we film this day? Like, oh, no, sorry, I have a show, so I have to shave. Like, no, dude. I have pictures of my real life of like documented of, I know I was doing Bigfoot Chasers during this time because I kept trying to gel my hair to hide the fact that I had just a straight up bowl cut.
Well, I think that was probably why by the 5th season, by the last one, we're like, you don't have to have we'll write it into the script that you changed your hair.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? Okay, so tell me about this one.
Oh, so good. So this is Craig's story, where Daniel's playing me,
and
Sam's Bigfoot,
and I'm
right?
Bigfoot. Yeah, so good. You can see my little eyes there, probably smiling.
The holding the hand thing. Oh my god, hilarious.
Oh, tell me about this one.
Ooh.
Oh, was that ever actually? Oh, it made it in the intro, but
It's
yeah.
the intro.
Daryl, you bought
Didn't
that
you
for him,
find
right?
that? You bought that for me, right?
Yeah, I got this at a Bigfoot
Yeah.
Santa Cruz.
And I have a patch that you got me.
Yeah. But
I still have
like,
it.
This just seemed like Joe would have this around his neck, so had to get it.
And I did. I wore it for all of, I want to say season 4, and all we ever used of it was in the intro.
Yeah. Oh, you wore it underneath your outfit?
Yeah, I had it on the whole time because I want to say it was season 4 we improvised because I was like, I always kept it in the back of my mind that like, we could use this in an episode, and then it just didn't end up going there.
Yeah.
You can see there also Daniel's dedication to his mustache.
I know, seriously. It's like, I think it's long enough to go film an entire series.
That's probably like that day. Well, it was commercials that would ruin it. I could not have facial hair at all for commercials. So what I would do is I would grow out facial hair, and I wouldn't shave it yet for shows, which that was fine. And then I would get a commercial the night before, and I'd be like, oh my god, I got to shave the mustache. When we film in 2 days, they're gonna hate me. But I had to shave. Like that was it. But yeah, man. Well, I want to show you guys the blooper reel right now. This came out for a little bit, and then we made it unlisted because the intro to this, we talked about how we had a new series planned.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
I'll play it. But like our new series never came out, so you'll see a part that was very confusing.
We can talk about that after that too.
Filming a new series, but yeah, we can talk about that later. So anyways, for those of you at home, enjoy this. This is one of my favorite things to watch in the whole wide world, and it is the outtakes from season 1 through season 4. So here we go. Without further ado, outtakes. Enjoy.
I'm Joe. And I'm Craig. And we chase. I'm Joe. And I'm Craig. And we chase. I'm Joe. And I'm Craig. And we chase Bigfoot. Let's just try one. We don't look till the very end. Hey guys, I'm Daniel. I'm Sam, and we play the Bigfoot Chasers. We would just like to say thank you to everyone who's ever watched, subscribed, commented, shared, liked, disliked, anything. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, but don't worry, because we got a brand new series coming out this year with 2 new characters on a whole new adventure. It's gonna be the 2 of us, just like Bigfoot. It's gonna be really fun. I'm excited. Yeah, but right now we got a special treat for you guys. You get to watch us mess up over and over and over again. I gotta be honest here. I'm real excited. This morning I woke up, I found a big surprise under my tent. Sorry. I laughed. I woke up this morning, I found a big... sorry. Disgusting. We'll try it again. I'm sorry. I finally told Joe about the turd. What's that?
We are shooting Bigfoot Chasers Season 2.
I'm seriously eating like 10 flies today already. Over there?
To your right.
To the left. To the left. To the left.
To the left. To the right. To the left. To the left.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We got it! We got it!
the ranger. We hired a real professional to come in and train us.
Name's Fred McCoy, licensed survival expert. Okay, wait. Licensed survival.
Yeah, the spacing's weird.
Yeah, sorry.
So we can. Where are you?
I'm Fred McCoy, licensed survival expert.
We only knew Fred McCoy for 5 minutes, but for the time we did know him, we always knew where we were going. Smiling.
Heavy metal, man.
I believe in the world, and I believe in Joe, and Joe believes in the world.
Here we go.
Hit it once, and then listen. Ow! Joe, I think I heard something. Joe, I think I heard something. Joe. Ow! Oh, Joe, I think I heard something. Joe.
Bigfoot's not coming, but Littlefoot got hit.
Littlefoot got hit.
You've never actually seen Bigfoot, have you?
Do you guys got any?
I quit.
No, look at me and say it right now.
And then none of Craig is left. Only Joe.
Well, anyway, I tied some steak to a tree. That's the wrong line. You guys got any steak sauce or a barbecue pit? Hey, you guys got any steak sauce?
I'm sorry, there's beard hair on the steak.
You guys got any steak sauce? Or like a barbecue pit? Hey, boy. You got any steak sauce?
Oh, man. You never know what you're gonna find.
This whole time I've been waiting in line for a massage.
It says go that
But
way.
then, you know, it's this way. It's
No,
definitely,
Joe.
it's this
Joe,
way.
there's a sign though, Joe.
Hey, what are you guys doing? Water. Did anyone get that? I should be some sort of a comedian. I should quit this Bigfoot thing. Oh, God, my hands are sticky. I don't know why they're sticky.
Joe.
That's stuff on the ground. Woo, woo. It is cold. You using that shirt, Craig? Hey, you using that shirt, Craig? I need to. Sorry. I'm Craig's father.
What?
What?
The trees are trees.
I could eat a slab of goat.
So good. Just how you're gonna say it.
I could eat a slab. I could eat a slab of goat.
Don't over-enunciate. He did that on purpose. He said, hey,
I had
slab.
I had to pause so it would break. I came out pinky first.
But we are all one. Dude,
Sorry.
can we cut that?
So cool. Banjo solo. Kazoo solo.
this is the most vain I ever am in my life. It's watching these bloopers and just laughing at us. Oh, the slave of goat thing.
Yeah.
Slave of good. There's so many bloopers from that didn't get aired. Like that was probably like what 15 minutes long, Daryl, of us just laughing.
Daryl started to get absolutely upset with us.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
A little bit.
Oh man, the banjo thing too is just so fun because I didn't know, we had no idea. What's crazy about the banjo thing is I want to say we just did 2 takes. It was like that first take
Yeah, there's 2
of
songs.
the song, and then we just kind of improvised that all the way through. And then the second one was that one. We're like, let's get a different take with some different like jokes in it. And then like, oh, I didn't know you were gonna go that hard on the kazoo solo. I don't think any of us did because we never rehearsed that. Oh, I was crying that day. Oh my God.
It's fun to watch those, not only all the memories and us laughing together and like the joy of like sharing all of that is great. But I mean, watching that, at least for us who know what actually happened later with the episodes, I guess if you know the show really well, you would also know. But like the some for the ground part where you like pour the water out, like I can't unhear what actually got aired, which is like some for the ground. Like it's fun to watch it knowing what actually happened and what actually got aired, or being like, oh, like this is just slightly wrong, and like, oh, maybe that's why they picked this clip. Like even that is just
it was fun. Even in the tree, even you could see in the bloopers of the tree knocks one where you're just like, hey, I heard a noise, and on the second one you're like, Joe, I heard a noise.
yeah.
Well, little up the the voice there.
Littlefoot didn't make it.
Oh God, yeah, I knew we weren't gonna end up using that, but oh God.
Oh, that line destroyed me.
Yeah, the Some for the ground thing too was another one that like I was scared, like just like didn't. That like we only had one shot at it because I poured out the water got on my shirt and I was like, oh no, we just had to get. Luckily, the second take, you couldn't see the water very well, but I know if you watch that episode, you can kind of see my shirt's a little wet. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
we were so upset. Anytime we were like, we have to get this right now. We not only would we always mess it up, but we.
Melanie says Sam always commits.
Oh, thanks, Mom. And then Maxwell says, how did Sam learn to play the kazoo? I didn't learn to play it. I mean, I think everyone can play the kazoo, right?
Yeah.
You just put it in your mouth and you.
We left out that you knew how to play the spoons. Because I just had a banjo that I wanted to use, and I'm pretty sure it was probably Daryl who was like telling me like you gotta have that banjo in an episode. And I was like, all right. I mean, I don't really play banjo, but I play guitar, so I can figure out enough for an episode.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and I like. I just remember being like, do you have anything, Sam? You're like, oh yeah, I play the spoons. Like, what?
I play the drums, so like certainly it carries over. But like, I mean, a couple of months just fortuitously happened where I was in a history of rock and roll class, and one of the extra credit assignments was that you could like make a song with other people in the class, but you had to use like authentic instrumentation from like back in the day. And so one of the things that we researched was like the spoons, and I was like, oh, I want to learn how to play the spoons. So I did it for a college class, and then this came up, and I was like, oh, dude, I'll play the spoons. So
God,
that just worked
so
out.
Perfect.
The thing that always kills me about those bloopers too is me just blaming everyone else. Every time I point at someone else and blame it on them, it kills me.
It's funny looking back.
I'm such an idiot.
It was funny. We had like, I feel like when I would break, it would be totally fine, and then all of a sudden I would just like break out of nowhere. And Craig or Sam, I could always see in Craig's face, like I could see you start to break early, and then you'd hold it back, and then you'd break more later. It's just funny watching it.
And then I would blame everyone else when it was so clearly my fault.
Well, I would be behind the camera laughing because what's happening is funny. And then it would be like, if I smiled, then you guys would smile. So it was like I was trying to fight behind the camera, or I'd hide my mouth behind the camera.
Yeah.
There was definitely a couple times where just seeing Daryl laugh made me break, because you'd see it out of your like periphery, like not looking at the camera, that like he would just like start covering his mouth and looking down. Or I know a couple times you just flat out walked away and like kept it recording.
Yeah.
Like,
If it was on a tripod, yeah.
No, I should wear a mask next time.
Yeah.
Can't see that.
Yeah.
Double usage.
Well, yeah, real quick, we're kind of out of time here, but we'd mentioned in the beginning of that bloopers thing that we had this whole other series planned, and I don't really know exactly what happened with it. I guess we just didn't love it as much as the Bigfoot Chasers series. But yeah, I mean, we went through, like, we rehearsed episodes. I probably have like 7 scripts.
I feel like
Did you have that many?
Yeah, I feel like it turned into some. Didn't you and Tyson make it or something?
Oh, well, okay, well, there were 2. I mean, there was Unstranded, which I ended up doing.
Oh, Big Mike.
Yeah, Big Mike was the one. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Unstranded was one, though, too, that we had talked about, and then it was just pretty clear that we weren't going to film it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go just do a few sketches of these, and that'll be that. But the Big Mike one was, like the big one. I think I have like 7 episodes. Where I was, Sam was running for city council, and and I was his campaign manager. Yeah.
Not inspired by Parks and Rec at all, but ended up having some political.
Yeah.
Certainly. I think were we going to do it? Was it going to be a mockumentary? Were we going to do the interviews or no?
I don't know.
I don't think we were. I think it was going to be very similar to Bigfoot. Yeah.
I know there was an idea at some point, and I'm so glad we didn't do this, that we should do a bunch of series and every character's name is Joe and Craig, but they were different. That was so confusing.
We have test footage of that. I'm sure this is me saying it. And do you have it on you?
No.
Oh,
I don't know what's on there. I don't know. But
we did film. I mean, it was definitely going to happen. We were going to change the production. We did. We changed the Bigfoot Chasers YouTube to like 3 brothers. What was that?
Third cousins. Yeah.
Third cousins.
Yeah, it was like going to be a channel where we had a bunch of different.
It was happening.
Series, and then it would just sort of faded away. And we talked at one point about doing a Bigfoot Chasers movie, and I mean stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I think like. Who knows? I mean, that's
who knows. Yeah.
One of the funnest parts about Bigfoot Chasers, I feel like, was that we never said like this is the start and this is the end. It was just sort of like whatever we feel like. So yeah, it's just like I know people ask all the time, you guys gonna film more episodes? And it's just like, I mean, it's honestly up in the air. I'm really happy with the way we ended things, and we definitely haven't talked about like, we should go out and film new episodes, but I mean, I would definitely say it's not a no, that like, for sure, never. It's nothing like that.
At least from my perspective, it feels like every 2 years or so, we're like, hey, so where's the interest at? And then we're all like vaguely interested, and then it never really ends up happening. So one of these years, maybe one day it'll start happening.
Oh, we're going to be 50 years old. Just like, let's do a reboot of the whole series. Back. I'm going to play Craig this time.
Certainly, it's also like, obviously life happens and things evolve. And I know I've certainly gotten a lot busier and things like that. And obviously Daniel's career, I think, has taken off. So credit to you, sir.
Credit to Bigfoot Chasers.
Credit to Bigfoot Chasers. Daniel's very busy. So a lot of that factors into stuff. I mean, I don't really film anything else. So.
Yeah, we did do, if you haven't seen on the Facebook pages, we have I have 2 Joe videos and 1 Craig video that we filmed in the quarantine. So check out facebook.com/Bigfoot Chasers. Melanie says, James says that he wants the Bigfoot Chasers movie. I mean, who doesn't? He wants to make another appearance. Is James your brother?
James is my brother.
Oh yeah, he was. That was Sam's brother in Ultimate Tracking Animal. Yeah.
Yes.
Season 5.
Where we got a child.
Yeah, which was one script that I had for years, and we just never.
We never had the right kid.
Yeah, there's a couple of those scripts, man, that I really, really like that we've still never filmed. That like maybe need a certain prop or a certain character or characters that I'm like, like if we ever do another season, like these couple scripts are making it in 100%. Like we're finally gonna film those because, I know one in particular I think is super funny still to this day. So. I wouldn't mind just going and filming that one sketch and then airing that.
Just that, yeah.
Just that one.
Sam, you have to cut your hair just for the one.
Just for the one sketch.
Yeah, I mean, sort of on that note, it does feel like something where, and I think we've all sort of gotten here, right? Where we've done a lot of the stuff that would be, I guess, easier to film. And most of the time when we talk about these, we're like, okay, well, if we're going to do something, we have to commit all the way. So it is on the level of like movie-esque or like 45-minute or hour long or whatever, something like that. So 100%, if we come back, like we're all committing to a bigger project, the bull cut's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's got to be there.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about too, you know, at one point that like every season we felt like we wanted to up it somehow. You know, season 1 we were still figuring things out. Season 2 was a lot more like, oh, we have more interviews and like, yeah, I don't know, just like different. We definitely upped the stakes. We're gonna film one in my truck and all that. And then season 3, it's like we're gonna go to Shaver Lake. We're gonna go to Northern California and we're gonna film like in the sequoias, and it's gonna be awesome. And then season 4, it's like let's improvise an entire season. And then season 5, I remember just being like, let's like really make it look cool and like put a lot into the production and have this epic opening and stuff like that. So I know
we were trying to do Patreon at that time too. So it was in addition to season, it was all the extra stuff that we were filming in addition to that to release for patrons.
Which there's a bunch of footage out there of a behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, but a Joe and Craig Patreon show that never came out or never got edited or anything. And who knows, maybe one day that footage will surface, but
never got any patrons.
It's true.
Yeah, people were really upset when we came. We had like a ton of fans who were like, you're back. And then we're like, hey, join our Patreon. The episodes are still coming out for free, but if you want behind the scenes, and people were like, how dare you charge us money? And they got a lot of backlash. Like people literally unsubscribed from us. I'll never forget that one guy who was like, I've watched every episode and this is despicable. And then I made a joke about it and he was like, how dare you make a joke about this? And then unsubscribe.
It's okay.
Yeah, we lost one.
It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely, you know, probably the biggest thing holding us back is, you know, we all talked about like, if we do it, we got to up the stakes. Either we're doing a full pilot or a full movie or something like that. And yeah, who knows? But it's definitely, you know, in the air. It's not a no.
The animated series. You could do an animated series. Yeah.
You just have a Joe and Craig TikTok. We just sing along to stuff. Well, anyway, thanks guys. We went a little over the mark here, but yeah, thanks for joining. It was a good time. Thanks everybody for watching. I air kind of the best of on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dan Eachus, the one you are on currently. So be sure to subscribe. I got a bunch of other sketches and stuff like that, some stand-up clips. But if you want to watch all the Bigfoot Chasers episodes, go to youtube.com/Bigfoot Chasers. Or if you just search Bigfoot Chasers, you'll see the channel come up pretty soon. Anything you guys want to plug or anything like that?
I'm good. Just, I'm thankful to be here. And there's a lot of great memories. And it's awesome to connect like this. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
I agree. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and go watch Bigfoot Chasers. Stream the whole thing right now.
It'll only take an hour.
What's that? Yeah, it'll take an hour and a half, probably.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for watching, guys.